Hello and welcome to the Cricket Nerds podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'm joined by Zach and James. How are you two doing, boys?
Excellent.
Great news. That's all I'm getting from that, I imagine.
Yep.
Today, Sunrisers Hyderabad took on the Delhi Capitals and lost. They won the toss, put Delhi Capitals in. Delhi Capitals smashed it around for 20 overs, and then Sunrisers lost. Thanks for tuning in. See you next tomorrow. Anyway, that's not how we're going to do the podcast. We're going to first of all go through the Delhi innings, particularly looking at sort of David Warner's knock. So, Zach, do you want to kick us off talking about David Warner?
Yeah, we won't talk about Mandeep Singh, but we'll go straight to David Warner, who had a lovely innings. Now, it pains me to say it because David Warner has been the bane of RCB for a long time and the bane of every team pretty much. He's one of those villainous players, isn't he, David Warner? However, we can't take anything away from him because he's just surpassed the most 50s ever scored in the IPL. He's arguably the most consistent batsman to have ever played the IPL. And yeah, his record speaks for himself. But today, although he scored 92 off 58, which is very quick hitting, we're going to talk about Rovman Powell in a bit, but he's just got a different sort of style. Whereas Rovman Powell, you feel like he could top edge one to a fielder. David Warner seems in control of every shot. He doesn't look like getting out. And so to score at the rate he does and not look like getting out is it's just a different class, really. And although he's been annoying in the past, I think I wanted him to do well because I wanted Delhi Capitals to beat Sunrisers for Royal Challengers' sake. So yeah, I was quite happy with it. But yeah, he played a very good innings and is the reason why Delhi Capitals got to their score they did and won the game for them. So yeah, but it was ably supported by Rovman Powell and Rishabh Pant, who batted very well.
Yeah, I was very impressed with them actually. I thought Rishabh Pant played a bit more freely than he has been, sort of shaking off those shackles of captaincy that seem to have burdened him a bit for the last 2 years. And then Rovman Powell, I agree with what you said actually. Like when he strikes it, I mean, he hits the ball so hard that, like, I think from the bowler's perspective, they'll be thinking, right, if I put it anywhere near his arc, it doesn't really matter if he edges it, it'll probably go for 6. But it's more like the explosiveness and the raw power that is the threatening thing with Rovman Powell, whereas with David Warner, it's definitely that more just the sheer control and timing and power that he has. But yeah, Rovman Powell really got them up to not only a fighting total, but a winning total. He hit 67 of 35. That included 6 of the finest sixes. So yeah, he's just a bit of a monster. And when he gets going, which he finally has in this IPL, he's a brilliant person to have come in at 5. I think that there are a few people that are on that level, and Shimron Hetmeyer is probably one. Just a brilliant player to come in at 5. Liam Livingstone, the same sort of thing. Just have the ability to hit at a strike rate of 300 if they want to. So moving on to the bowling, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar started off very nicely, didn't he, Benj?
He did. I like Bhuvi.
The like for like, Benji and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar.
Yeah.
What can I say? Right on medium pacer. Great player. It was interesting with the Sunrisers bowling stage because Bhuvi looked really good. And it was the bowlers who bowled with more pace got hit more. I mean, interestingly, Sunrisers only bowled 4 overs of spin today. So there was 16 overs of fastness and 4 overs of spin. And they didn't pick any of their spinners, which just seemed a bit confusing to me as to why they'd do that.
Well, they've also got Washington Sundow's split webbing still.
Yeah, I mean, Sundar's injured, so Shreyas Gopal's in there, but like they've got other spinners in that setup as well. And yeah, you saw pretty much two ends of the spectrum today. You had Bhuvaneshwar Kumar bowling nice areas, nice line and length, bowling tight and picking up wickets. And you had Umar Malik, who was bowling at 156.9 kilometers an hour, which was just ridiculous, which got hit for 4. So like his fastest deliveries just got smacked away because the quicker they come, the quicker they go. In Umar Malik's last over, his slowest delivery clocked in at a meager 144.3 kilometers per hour. It's like over 90 miles an hour was his slowest delivery. He was just really cranking the pace up today. But I'm just not sure it really worked for him today because, again, he got smashed around. Like he wasn't hitting his nice lines like he was the other day against Gujarat. So, yeah, it was an interesting choice today from Sunrisers. Also, to only play like Aidan Markram as the part-time spinner and Shreyas Gopal as the only real spinner on that side, who both just got taken to the cleaners. I think like after Pant dragged on, like Rovman Powell came out and is very good at playing against spin. He's like learned how to play against spin. So because of being able to do that, he was able to quickly pick up runs. So yeah, I think the important thing, I mean, Sunrisers just haven't picked the right set of bowlers. I mean, Natarajan's been dropped, unless he's injured. I'm not sure why he was missed out today, but potentially there's some questionable captaincy going on there from Kane Williamson, and I'm not sure whether that is getting to him as a player as well, because I mean, his batting today was, well, poor, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, it wasn't great. Another failure in the book for him. And I think part of that is due to how well Delhi Capitals bowled at the start. Because, like you said, Ben, the pace on the ball for the Delhi Capitals, it went, right? When they were facing pace, it went to the boundary. And Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, he's a very skillful bowler. And when the conditions are in the batsman's favour, because it was a very good pitch to bat on, when the conditions are in the batsman's favour, he just has the skill to slow it down or bowl a consistent line and length to really trouble the batsman. And I think that the Delhi Capitals learnt from that a bit, because you look at their top 3 bowlers, Shardul Thakur, Khalil Ahmed and Anrik Nortje, who bowled in the power play. Ahmed and Nortje, they're not slow bowlers. Nortje especially, he's one of the fastest bowlers in the competition as well. And he only went to 8.75 and over, which when you compare Umar Malik's 13 and over is a massive difference. And I think they just bowled a lot smarter. They didn't bowl as fast as they could. They bowled in better areas. And that power play, it didn't even go at 6 and over, which shows the skill that they bowled with. And to get Williamson out for 4 off 11, he's a sort of player that when you need a big score, you want your captain steadying the ship. And yeah, his way of steadying the ship is to not score, which you can't do. So yeah, he needs to sort himself out. I feel like Sunrisers are in a tricky situation because it's kind of like Kolkata Knight Riders last year with Owen Morgan. Owen Morgan wasn't in form, but he was playing because he was the captain. So maybe they should think about switching out Kane Williamson for someone else. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the right idea. But then they put up a fight, especially Aidan Markram and Nicholas Pooran. They really went for it.
Yeah, I was going to say that they've been a highlight definitely for Sunrisers. There were 2 players that I kind of thought at the auction they'd probably do well, because Nick Pooran coming off horrible form at Punjab Kings, and generally, you know, we saw it with Maxwell before. If you leave Punjab Kings having done terribly, you tend to have a good season next time. That's happened to Nick Pooran, and yeah, it was a brilliant 62. He played very well. And Aidan Markram, again, another measured innings. He plays such good-looking cricket, and yeah, he's got power as well when he wants to. But ultimately, they fell short to Lord Thakur, and yeah, in the end, it was pretty easy going for DC. They weren't troubled too much by them, because you can't really expect them to keep up that level of explosivity, especially after the start that that like Kane Williamson got them. He basically buried them in the power play. So yeah, I wasn't impressed. But what do you think of the bowling bench?
It wasn't anything special, but it got the job done. I think is what we can say about Delhi today. Like Sardal bowled nice and tight at the start, and then got slapped, and then had a decent last over. Khalil Ahmed picked up some decent wickets and was probably for me the pick of the bowlers today. And then not really Kuldeep's day, and then a decent contribution from both the overseas too. I think Mitch Marsh looks okay with the ball in hand now. He was bowling, quite nice line and length, but was just getting
boost for them.
The bad ball hit, wasn't he? And then it was nice to see Norkir back from injury, picking up, a good wicket at the start of the innings. Even though, again, it's not as economic as you'd like from your retained brilliant overseas player. So I wouldn't say it was particularly special, but it did the job tonight, I think. And yeah, I think for me the pick of the bowlers was definitely Khalil Ahmed.
So nice and quickly, who were our heroes and villains? I can kick us off. My hero for that match was, even though it was in the losing cause, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. I thought he bowled brilliantly, and he was just a standout. And so many times you see it where everybody else does horribly, and Bhuvi is still there with brilliant figures. So he was my hero, and my villain has got to be Kane Williamson. It was just horrible batting, and he's looked bad all season. And yeah, he's buried his team once again. Zach, how about you?
I'm gonna have to agree with you on the villain. I don't see anyone else being the villain other than Kane Williamson, really. And the hero, pains me to say, but David Warner. He's the hero for Royal Challengers as well, for winning the game for Delhi.
And for Punjab Kings.
And for Punjab Kings, and for all those other teams that are just sat with 10 games and 10 points.
Yeah.
For me, it's Nick Purran and Aidan Markram for a good little partnership in the middle. I think they were key to the fight back. And my villain is David Warner for being David Warner. No, for making an unfair game. It wasn't close.
Any excuse.
It wasn't close, and we're gonna get no views because of David Warner. So that's why it's my villain. Let's move on.
Comment of the day.
We have one comment of the day. I am gonna pick Look Who's Watching, because you guys are so sweet, well behaved. Have never seen you bully each other when someone's team loses. No swearing too, only harmless leg pulling. That's why I like this channel. You don't resort to cheap tactics to garner views. Hope you get some sponsors too.
It's very nice.
Thanks, mate.
That's very
We
nice.
appreciate that.
He just doesn't see what goes on the cricket field, does he?
Yeah, like,
we're actually just horrible.
As soon as we're off this podcast, we're like bullying each other about Jenna the worst. That's all I hear. And okay, we have some Cricket Nerds questions.
Oh yes. That is the best intro ever.
So our first Cricket Nerds question is from Ankit Singh. He says, #CNQ. Do you think Johnny Bairstow deserves more chances in Punjab Kings given the terrible form he is in?
Honestly, at this point, I don't think he does. I think we've given him quite a few chances. And even though the potential of Johnny Bairstow being good is brilliant, I think he needs a game off. I think he needs to know that he is expendable unless he gets himself back into form. And honestly, we could balance the side even more with Benny Howell, because at the moment Bairstow is getting no runs, and he can't bowl, but he's a good fielder. Benny Howell, he will probably, at the very least, he will also get no runs, but he also offers a bit with bowling, and he is an experienced fielder. So that's my opinion. Ben, what were you going to say?
I'm going to disagree and just say that I think that he needs a couple more games opening. Opening is where he plays best in T20. So he needs to be playing in his best spot. I think also he's in red ball mode. Like, he's just come off a tour of the West Indies. So, like, it must be hard to switch between those formats. Any thoughts from you, Zach?
It's hard to say really, because I think I agree with James in terms of Benny Howell probably offers something a bit with the ball. But at the same time, if Johnny Bairstow has to prove his doubters wrong, that's when he comes good. And I feel like it's just a matter of time before Johnny Bairstow hits a match-winning innings and it sets him off for the rest of the tournament.
I hope so.
For that, I think it's best that they keep him in just in case. Because Johnny Bairstow is someone who can have a bad run of form and then look really good. He's definitely comes in patches really. So yeah. Another question then, which I'm going to gloss over quickly because it's from Owen, and he says, what are your plans for the podcast after this year's IPL? And we have plans. So
we have just wait. Just
the
wait
best plans
for all the plans. But yeah, thanks for your question. The third question comes from PD.
Oh, PD.
Hashtag Cricket Nerds Questions Time. Should cricket be majorly played in a franchise-based model, club cricket, just like football, or substantially restricted to national-based model? I like both models, the former being exciting while the latter taking a hit on your pride. Thoughts?
Well, I think that the Indian Premier League is looking to go for the franchise-based model, kind of like football, because they're saying we're not going to have any more mega auctions, which would mean that players will likely stick with their franchise and then they can maybe trade players or sell players and things like that. So I think that's what they're going for. And you can see they've added 2 more teams to this year's IPL. And the long-term aim is to have loads of teams in the Indian Premier League and have multiple divisions. They've got loads of plans going on to make it more of that model. Whether they should have that model, I'm not sure, because I think that in football there's more of a focus on club football, isn't there? Whereas in cricket there's more of a focus on international cricket and developing players for your international side. So I enjoy following the international cricket more than the other forms. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
I think an issue that cricket as a whole has is especially for new people into cricket, a lot of the international stuff lacks context, because like a test match, you look at it and they've tried to add a bit of context with the World Test Championship, but ultimately it doesn't really mean a whole lot. Like, you can play a big overseas series against West Indies, and like 2 years down the line, you kind of forgotten what the result was, and it didn't really mean anything. So from that perspective, having like more franchise competitions and things like that can be really good. And I would like to see some more red ball. I would like to see a red ball franchise competition, just because I think the amount of money that can be put into a red ball competition, if you have like it heavily sponsored like the IPL, that could be brilliant for cricket, and it could get just generate more money that can then be put into grassroots. But yeah, no, I think both is good. I think you're right, PD, that both definitely have their strengths. But there are things that need to be improved.
Yeah, I think it's important that Test match stays as the pinnacle of cricket. I think that's where the highest level needs to be, as a bit of a and not even as a traditionalist. I like all the new cricket, but like I think that Test matches should be the highest level of cricket. That is proper cricket. And then you can do franchise cricket in the right way or the wrong way. Like IPL is really good, but like in my opinion, the 100 missed the mark a bit. I think it's not as like geographic based as it could be. And the ECB are just throwing money into the 100. I mean, we're going to follow the 100 because it's a fun tournament, but it's interesting. Thanks for your question, PD. We have one more Cricket Nerds question.
Ooh,
Am already the Sunrisers fan?
Yep.
Do you think Sunrisers were extremely unlucky with the split webbing of Washi, or outright stupid to play him without proper healing, or was he hit there again and it reopened? Just a bit stupid. If your player's injured, don't play him. Like, wait till the webbing is healed. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think split webbing is a horrible injury to have, and you need to let it heal, because otherwise, like the scar tissue and stuff, it can cause long-term problems. So, and you can't expect to field a player that's got like weakened webbing in their fingers and not have it like split again, because there are going to be catches. This is the IPL. Everybody top edges everything. So, there are catches to be had, and I think it was a bit short-sighted of them.
And even if a player has split their webbing and you want to play them for their batting or their bowling or whatever, at least field them at fine leg when they're not going to affect the game. Don't put them in a run-out fielding position when they could potentially damage themselves. So
I think what happened is a throw came in and he tried to field it and it broke it again when he was bowling. Anyway, thank you very much for all your Cricket Nerds questions. Keep sending them in. We love them. We'll keep answering them. Very quickly before we end them, boys, tomorrow we have top of the table Gujarat facing off against bottom of the table Mumbai. Predictions.
I want Mumbai to win. So that's what my heart says, but my head says Gujarat Titans. What about you, Zach?
I'm going to say Mumbai win the toss, elect to field first, and they win. Because Gujarat haven't setted a total well enough in the last game, and I think it's going to happen again. So there we go.
Haven't setted a total well.
Yeah, that's
we all heard it. We all heard it.
We all heard it. Yeah,
on the internet forever.
I'm going to say, you know what? Make it 3 for 3. Mumbai are going to win. Karan Pollard's going to hit a ton.
I mean, so I did predict Gujarat, but there we go.
So if you don't have a podcast tomorrow, it's because we all predicted wrong and we're sad about it.
Yeah.
But there will be a podcast tomorrow. So
that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tune in. Keep sending in your Cricket Nerds questions. We love to see them. We love to hear them. We'll love the interaction in the comments. Like and subscribe. Subscribe on your favorite podcast audio network as well, because it helps. Help us with the YouTube algorithm. Listen to us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM. And
the list goes on.
Is there anything else? Social media.
Follow our social medias,
at
mate.
Cricket Nerds Pod. We will one day do some proper social media content. We promise.
The best way to sell it, isn't it?
We promise. We'll put some content there at some point, and it'll be great. But until then, it's been a pleasure to share the screen, to share the airways with you boys, and blessing the listeners and the watchers with
you are waffling
quality
so much
cricket content. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Goodbye.